Morning, guys. Reverse percentages are a pretty key topic at that grade 5 level. They used to be considered quite a hard topic, but now they're considered a sort of staple of just a kind of pass level. So it shows you how much harder the GCSE has become. They come in two different flavours, really. This first type, well, let me read it out to you and hope you'll see the difference. So in a sale, a shop reduces its price by 20%. A shirt is reduced by £4.80. What was the price of the shirt before the sale? And flavour 2, in a sale, a shop reduces its prices by 20%. The new price of a pair of jeans is £36. What was the price of the jeans before the sale? So both types of those questions are reverse percentage questions because they're asking what the original price was. Okay, that's what makes it a reverse percentage problem. But this one can be categorized by sort of saying that it tells us the percentage decrease and then it tells us the amount decrease. Okay, it doesn't have to be a decrease, it could be an increase. This one tells us the percentage decrease and then tells us what the new price is. Okay, so that's the difference. And the reason I've split these into two kind of different types is that I would advocate using only one particular method with this one, whereas there are two that are just as good as each other for that one. For this first type, let's have a look at that then, and let me explain which method I would use. So if it tells us that it's reduced its prices by 20% and it tells us that it's reduced a certain price by £4.80, then we know that £4.80 must be 20%. So write that down. Okay, and then it's just about getting back to what 100% was. Okay, and you can use this method for the next type of problem as well. So if you're going to remember one method, it's probably the easiest one to remember. Now you can get directly from 20 to 100 quite easily just by timesing by 5. Okay, but on some of these types of problems, it might be easier to go to 10% and then to 100%, or maybe even 1%. Back to 100%. Okay, so you might need to scale down before you scale up, but this one's nice and easy. Just going to times by 5, and if we times by 10 we would get £4.80. So if we times by £48, so if we times by 5 we're going to get £24. So £24 was the original price of the shirt. Okay, and you can always check a reverse percentage problem by actually reducing it by 20%. So 10% of that would be £2.40. 20% would be £4.80, so that works. Okay. This problem is slightly harder, I guess. A shop reduces its price and the new price is given. Okay, so you could work out. No, sorry, we can't work out the reduction in price because you don't know what the old one was. But we could use the same method we've just used. Okay, so if something is reduced by 20%, then what percentage is left? We know that there's 80% left. So 80% must be equal to £36. Okay, in other words, £36 is 80% of whatever it was before. Okay, so now we're going to turn it back into 100%. Now, just like I stated before, sometimes there's no easy way to turn that into this number that we need to get to. I mean, it's not too bad, times by 1.25, but it might be easier for us to turn it into 10% or even 1%. I'm going to turn it into 10% by dividing by 8, and then I'm going to times by 10 to change it into 100%. So divide this by 8 and we get 4.5. So in other words, 10% is £4.50, and then times by 10, that means 100% must be £45. Okay, and they tend to be quite sensible amounts, these sorts of questions. If you found out that the cost of a pair of jeans was ridiculously high or ridiculously low, hopefully you'd have enough common sense to question it. Also, if you found out that the cost of the jeans was like £43.76 recurring pence, then you know that you can't have that amount in money, so why would a shop set that as its price? So just make sure you retain the ability to question if you get something that doesn't look quite right. Okay, method 2, probably best in terms of speed, and if you understand your percentage multipliers, but again, it's sort of a different method to have to remember if you're going to use method 1 in the type of questions above, but I'll go through it anyway. So you just do, we know that the old amount times by the multiplier would reduce it, in this case, by 20% and give us the new price. Okay, so we know the multiplier is 0.8. We don't know the old price, but we do know the new price. So just writing in the things that we know, that's what we would get. If I want to figure out this number here, what could I do with these two numbers? Well, I could reverse this calculation. The inverse of doing a multiplication is to do a division. So if I divide 36 by 0.8, I will find my old amount. Okay, so hence where that equation comes from here, we do the new price divided by the multiplier. Okay, and you might be thinking, well, surely division makes an answer smaller. Well, not if we're dividing by something less than 1. Okay, if we do that on a calculator, we would get the same answer. Okay, it's quite an efficient method. Lots of people are tempted to just increase that price by 20% and think that that would give them the answer. If you think about that, 10% of that would be £3.60, so 20% would be £7.20. If we increase that by £7.20, we would get a price of 43% 20 pence. So not the right answer. And the reason for that is 20% of this number is not the same as 20% of the original amount. Okay, so that's why just increasing it by 20% again won't work. You have to use a division if you are going to use this method. Okay, let's have a look at some of the pack. 20% of all the children in the class are left-handed. 4 children are left-handed. So this is an example of the first kind of flavour that we saw on that. So we know 20% is 4 people. So how many people are in the class? We need to get back to 100%. Just times by 5, and that will give me 20 people in the class. 30% of the members of a tennis club are pensioners. 36 members are pensioners. So we can just write that relationship. 30% is equal to 36 members. And sometimes you get a mark just for stating these things in an exam, that you've spotted that. How many members are there in total? So I need to figure out what 100% is. I'm going to find out what 10% is first, because there's no easy way to turn 30 into 100. Now that would be dividing by 3. If I divide 36 by 3, that's going to tell me that 10% is 12 members. And then times by 10, so there are 120 members. How many members are not pensioners? Well, if 36 are pensioners, I could just take that away from 120 and get 84. Okay, or the other way I could do it is to do 70% of that, so times that by 0.7. A group of people sit there driving theory test and 24 people passed. 80% of the people passed. So this is telling us that 80% is equal to 24 people. How many people sat the test altogether? So I'm actually going to turn it into 20% this time, just to show you other ways you can make it a bit quicker. We divide by 4, oops, and times by 5 is another way of doing it. So that would give us 6, and then times that by 5, we would get 30. 30 is the answer. An energy bar contains 2.1 grams of protein. 6% of the bar is protein. We can use a calculator on this question. So 2.1 grams is 6%. Need to turn this back into 100%. I've written the percentages on the right hand side here just to show you it doesn't really matter where they go. So divide by 6 to find what 1% is. 2.1 divided by 6. give us 0.35. Times by 100 to turn it into 100%. Okay. And that would give us 35 grams in the bar. Swansea is a city in Wales. The population of Swansea is 240,000, and this is 7.5% of the total population of Wales. So again, it's an example of the first type. So 240,000 is equal to 7.5%. To get to 100%, I'm going to turn it into 1% first by dividing by 7.5 and then times by 100. $3.2 million, 3,200,000. Heather invested money into a savers bank account, and each year the money earns 10% interest. After 1 year, the total amount of money was this amount. Right, now we've moved on to the second type of question where they've given us the new amount. Okay, so using method 1, the percentage that we've now got is worth 110%. So 110% of what was there before is equal to £2,200. So if we get back to 100%, here we could divide by 110 to find 1%, or we could divide by 11 to find 10%. Dividing this by 11 would give us £200. So 100% times by 10 would give us £2,000. Okay, if you're using the second method explained earlier, then we would divide by 1.1 and that would give us 2,000. Okay, a chair is on sale at a price of £20.80. This is a 20% reduction of the normal price. So they've given us the new price. I'm going to use the second method now this time. So old price. What would I times by to reduce it by 20%? Well, 80% will be left. So we would times by 0.8. And that gives me 20.8, £20.80. So to reverse that, I'll do a division. Do 20.8 divided by 0.8. Oops. £26. And I'm going to use that method for the last two as well. Population of an island decreased by 40%, and it is now 360. So if I do the new amount, 360 divided by the percentage multiplier. Now a decrease of 40% would be a percentage multiplier of 0.6. Gives me 600 people, and that makes sense because the percentage decreased, so it should be a bigger number. 40% is almost half, and it's almost reduced by half. And the last one, Sinead buys a watch. 20% VAT is added to the price of the watch. She has to pay a total of £60. So without that, so something was increased by 20%. So the old amount was times by 1.2 to get 60, so 60 divided by 1.2 would be £50.